Hello garden lovers, today's video is for you who has plantain in your garden or any of you who plans to have plantain in your garden. How do you care for your plantain when the rains are gone? We know plantain is a hardy crop and most of us believe that all year round our plantain crops are fine, but no, something goes wrong with your plantain when the rains are gone and you don't supply supplementary moisture for it. So in this video I'm going to show you simple tips that you can carry on to maintain your plantain even in the dry season so that it doesn't lose its vitality and it stays producing at the right time. The first tip I'm sharing today is cutting down the lower leaves of your plantain. You'll see in this video how I have cut some of the leaves, the lower leaves, just a few, about 2 or 3 lower leaves of the plantain. The truth is that at this point where the temperature is very high and there is no moisture, you don't want your plant losing so much water through transpiration. And what I mean by transpiration is the water that leaves your plant through the leaves. So when we cut down these leaves, they become inactive and then they don't lose water. The next tip is effective watering. What you're seeing in this video is not effective watering. And the reason is most of the water that is going to the base of this plant is not available for the roots of this plant for uptake. If you look closely, you will see that most of this water is runoff water. It runs off from the root area and then just a little of it goes down to the root zone for uptake. This is not effective watering and you don't want to carry out this kind of watering, especially in the very dry season like we have it about this time of the year in Nigeria. So in order to ensure that your plant gets good water and makes the most of the water you're providing, you have to take some steps, you have to take some measures to ensure that your water goes down into the root of your plant. And that is what I'm going to show you next. So what we're doing here is creating a well around the root of our plant. I did this for all the plants in my garden, my plantain inclusive. Will create a well around it such that when you water your plant, the well, the ridge forms a fence. It holds back water so that the water doesn't run off, but it's only available to percolate into the soil. So this is exactly what we do, and this is one measure you can take to ensure that you do not lose the water you have provided for your plant. You make that edge, that fence around the root so that your water doesn't run off. It helps to ensure effective watering. This is just one of the measures to ensure effective watering. This is what you get when you do that. You can see that the watering here stayed around the root zone of a plantain. It didn't flow away, it didn't run off. So that is how I manage my plantain. I make sure I create this well around the roots before I water. And with this well, most of the water that I'm providing for my plantain stays within the root zone of the plantain. Like I said, this is not just for plantain, for virtually every plant you have in your garden during the dry season. This is one way you can keep it alive. So this way my plantain gets the most of my water and there is no wastage whatsoever. One other thing I do is to prevent loss of water through evaporation. And to achieve it, I use plant debris from my garden to protect my soil or to provide a cover for the soil around the root zone. By doing this, I prevent there's no direct contact with my root zone and sun, and then there's little water lost through evaporation. This process is called mulching, and you can very much mulch with plant materials like this, other organic materials, or tarpaulin. The most important thing is that whatever material you're using as mulch should be breathable. So if you're using a polythene bag, for instance, you may want to create some pinholes around the bag to allow for inflow of air to the root zone so that the root of your plant doesn't begin to rot. That is very important. So with this put in place, watering my plants is more effective. The little water that I provide stays in. First of all, the well I have created around my root zone holds the water in place, and then my mulch prevents loss of water through evaporation, and that is great. So the summary of all I am saying is Hamper your plantain, following all the tips and steps I have shown you in this video so that they stay fresh like these ones you're looking at. Imagine two of my plantain stands are fruiting, two of them in this very dry season. They started fruiting a couple of weeks ago, and I really look forward to their harvest. So guys, please pamper your plantain, give them the most of water, make sure you're watering them effectively so that they can give you the best.